Hi, this is Teich Swimmer. Nature in your garden and water that's alive. It's not by coincidence that we chose this slogan. It's because we think that Swimmteich, what is a Swimmteich? A natural pool without technical support and without chemicals. So we think that a Swimmteich brings a piece of nature, a piece of additional nature into your garden. Because you have a lot of life that lives in the water or around the water that you get into your garden. And the second part, water that's alive, well, that's what we're going to talk about today.
Your channel for Swimmteichs. Nature in your garden and water that's alive. Enjoy watching.
It's important for me to stress that a natural pool contains natural water. That's not chlorine water. It's not dead water. That means that it's alive, that life is in the water. It lives there. And it will never be pool water. So if you decide to go for a natural pool, you have to be prepared for the life that you gain with installing a Swimmteich. Let's start in the beginning. If you fill in the water into your Swimmteich that you have just constructed, what happens? The water that you use is usually out of a well or from the tub. If you use that water, you have to be aware of the fact that there are microorganisms in all water. But because the water is under the ground or in pipes, water pipes, those microorganisms kind of sleep. Now you fill your Swimmteich with that water, and because of the light, life can start, and the microorganisms start to live, to get alive. The first microorganisms that you will be aware of are probably algae, and you won't be happy about that, because in the water you also have nutrients, and those microorganisms that get out of their sleep and get alive, they feed on these nutrients, so they start to bloom. That's the turbidity that you see after filling your Swimmteich for the first time. It can be really green, even yellowish green, neon green, doesn't matter. It will become clear again, because you have a certain amount of nutrients in your water. Algae feed on that, they start to bloom, and then if you don't give them more nutrients to feed on, they have to die. So that's why sometimes it's overnight, when more or less all the nutrients are gone, algae will die and will sink down as sediments. So that's more or less the secret of the function of a Swimmteich. This life that gets alive, these microorganisms, as I said, first you have the algae. But then the first thing that you will probably see, even at the time when you start the filling, as soon as you have water in there, you will see the, no, I didn't look it up. We call them water runners. I'm not sure if you call them like that in English. It's those little things that seem to run or walk on the surface of the water. Yeah, they are the first ones that you will recognize. Then, after some time, after the algae bloom has already gone, you will definitely have back swimmers. Back swimmers are small animals that you can see. You can actually see them because there's a lot of life that you cannot actually see. And the back swimmers, they swim to the back. With the back, they breathe, they told me. And some people think and say that they sting. We have had back swimmers from the first year onwards. We never got stung. We have it now that's the 8th season that we have our Swimmteich, and we never got stung, as I said. But I know one case when a back swimmer got into the bathing suit of a woman, and she got stung twice, and she said it hurt, but it's not lethal. It's not common that you get bitten, so don't worry about back swimmers. All over the water, always, there are very, very, very small microorganisms that you can never see. You only see the symptoms or the result of them being in there, like the biofilm. That's microorganisms all stung together, all together. What else? Of course, we had the bugs. The first year when we had our Swimmteich, we had these small black bugs, and they were like they swam in formations, so we called them formation swimmers, but they were just bugs. And we had a lot of them, and they were really, well, how can I say, I didn't really like them. But don't worry, really good news. It's all also the life in the animal life, the insects life has to get into balance, and that takes some time. Let me tell you a story about the second year of having our Swimmteich. Second year, I'm sitting on the terrace, and I look down, very happily watching the water, and suddenly I didn't believe my eyes. I was jumping and saying, "Oh my God, how come a fish is in our Swimmteich?" Because we didn't want to have fish in our Swimmteich. I ran down and I watched, and there was this little animal with 4 legs and a tail, strange thing, and I took it out. It was not a fish. I was happy about that, and I put it somewhere else in a water hole. Then some days later, again I saw this strange animal swimming in the water with 4 legs. I took it out again, put it into the water hole, and then a few days later, when we had another 4 or 5 of these creatures, we Googled, and we found out they are newts. And newts are great if you have them in your Swimmteich, because newts feed on the smaller stuff that you have in there. So they feed on the water runners, they feed on the back swimmers, they feed on insects and their eggs and stuff, and they are really wonderful. The second thing why they are good for your Swimmteich, or why they are no harm for your Swimmteich, is that they are amphibians. They come into your Swimmteich in spring, like March, April. Suddenly they appear everywhere. By now we have lots of them, and they get their small ones there, and in the latest, in July, they disappear again. They vanish. They get out of the water and live somewhere else until next spring. And now we have in the Swimmteich just very, very small ones, the babies of the newts, and I'm really happy about them. I mean, we have made another video about animals around the Swimmteich, so I don't have to talk about cats and all these bigger animals that come and drink the birds, for example. Yeah, something else I want to show you. These floating things here. Most people think, oh my God, what's that? It's so dirty. Yeah, that's another sign of life. This is actually sediments that went down, they go down again, they sink down to the bottom at night because it gets colder. When it's warm, the thermic flow makes them rise and they swim here. Easy to fish them out, but don't use a normal skimmer landing net. Use a fine mesh net, because if you take them out, they are like dust. They just dissolve if you don't take a very, very fine mesh net. So this is a sign of life, and instead of thinking, oh my God, it's dirty, you should be aware that it's natural water, and sometimes it shows it in this way. And always keep in mind, this water is alive, and whatever comes into that water, the water has to deal with it. So that's why sometimes you have periods of turbidity. You have periods, I don't know, that you think, what's the matter with my water? It's kind of like a human being gets sick. You have to wait a little bit, be patient, and then it will clear up again. After having our Swimmteich for 7, now nearly 8 years, we are absolutely confident that water wants to get into balance, and it does not need much. Just patience. Yeah, I hope that I could give you some understanding for Swimmteich, and of course it has a lot of advantages to have a Swimmteich. I don't have to talk about this, I think. I don't have to talk about natural water being great for your skin, wonderful feeling, nice smell. I don't know what else to say. So have a good summer and enjoy swimming. Bye. See you next time.